Music has been a part of my life since I was a little kid. I started playing music when I was about 5 years old. The cello was actually my first instrument, and then the piano followed soon after. About a year later, I was 6 years old. And throughout my childhood, I remember music being like my closest friend, truly. And it was, much easier for me to express myself through music than it was with words. And so I turned to music as I went through elementary school and high school as a way to just kind of deal with whatever I was dealing with. I wrote the alma mater to my high school and had a rock band when I was in high school. But then the music and the language that I was kind of working with at the piano became more and more complex. And I started to hear things kind of in my mind that I wanted to express musically that kind of were more sophisticated. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a composer, to really immerse myself in the language of music. I felt like I had my own thing to say with music. And at about the same time, when I was a teenager, I started to immerse in Eastern philosophy and exploring meditation and mindfulness. I first came across the book Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, like so many of us have. And it was a tremendous influence in my life. I remember picking up that book, and I lived in Brooklyn at the time, and I jumped on the subway to go to Manhattan. And I was so immersed in this book that I read it straight through, completely missed my stop, and ended up at the last stop all the way in the Bronx, completely going through Manhattan. But it really spoke to me, as it has for so many millions of people. And combined with my music, so the kind of Western musical, classical music, and Eastern philosophy, those two worlds came together for me. And so my meditation practice began, and it started to find its way into my music. I would sit at the piano, sometimes for hours on end, improvising, just kind of finding my way through the music. As a composer, sitting at the piano and kind of finding patterns and finding melodies and harmonies is something, of course, we do. And that turned into its own meditative practice. Now, years later, I call it mind travel, but for so many years, it's just what I did. It's what I did to open up my imagination, creativity, and process my own emotions. And that journey of music and meditation and really using music to process and express emotion would come to serve me very well when I confronted the most difficult moment of my life. And that was when my little sister, who was 23 years old at the time, was killed tragically in an accident. And I was with her and had to process the trauma associated with what I went through. And I wasn't sure how I was going to get my life back. I turned to music, and I would sit at the piano day after day, hour after hour, and just playing that emotion through me, really processing fully what I was experiencing. And again, having no words for what I was going through, but allowing the music to kind of be the voice, to be the expression of that pain. When I came through the other side of it, I realized how powerful music really was in those kinds of situations, especially with complex emotions, right? When you're dealing with lots of emotions coming together and tangling up together as one. And the music allowed me to kind of parse them out and peel them apart. And that led me on this journey of emotional discovery. In many ways, that experience I had dealing with the grief and the mourning of my sister was my emotional awakening. And it allowed me to really deepen my understanding of the emotional experience. And also, it cracked me wide open, kind of through that pain, through that difficulty. When you go through that kind of heartbreak, that heartbreak also opens up the light that you have inside to shine forth. And music became that expression through which I can go deep inside, but also then kind of transform that pain and share it with the world as light on the outside. And so now with this course and with the work that I do through mind travel, it's about helping others kind of go through the same process that I did. We're all confronted with difficult, painful, challenging emotions and situations and circumstances in life. The real question is not whether we're going to be in one of those situations. The question is, how are we going to move through it? what are our choices going to be? Are we going to confront it and move forward in a healthy way, or are we going to retreat from it, distract from it, hide from it? And there's so many ways in today's world to kind of run away from those moments. We can turn the TV on, we can go to social media, we can have a drink, we can distract ourselves in so many different ways. But ultimately, that pain will always be there, no matter how far in the future we defer it. So the best thing we can do is to move forward through it. And so this experience brings together the things I love most. It brings together music as its foundation, and also the power of meditation and the healing power of nature. One of the things I've done really my whole life is spend time in reflection, in contemplation, out in nature, whether it's walking through a park or whether it's hiking trails up in the mountains. I would often just find myself in reflection on those walks, on those hikes, processing what was going on in life. And together with the music, it creates a powerful combination. So as you go through this experience, you'll have all the core ingredients in terms of nature and music and guided meditation to bring together that opportunity, all those ingredients for your healing.